Hey everybody, welcome to the Stellar Highway. My name is Motormind and I'll be your host tonight. Wanted to talk really quick about my favorite manga. Now, I won't give you like my entire manga history, but I've liked anime and manga for a long time. I still remember like 1985 or so. I'm in my living room. I'm watching MTV. That's what you did at the time. And MTV News comes on. Well, in this MTV News segment is a clip of Akira, and it's like super violent. And I'm like, whoa, cartoons can be this is a cartoon. This is awesome. So my mind was blown. I remember, from there forward, I sort of reevaluated like, what cartoons could be. And then, as I grew older, I found out I had been watching anime all my life. I'd been watching G-Force, Gotcha Man. I'd been watching Tranzor Z, which is Mazinger Z. I remember watching some kind of recut UFO Grindizer. I remember watching Robotech, which is three different anime kind of hacked up and slammed together. And then, in the 90s, I jumped on the anime train with everybody else. Cowboy Bebop, Vision of Escaflowne, Hajime no Ippo, El Hazard. Those are just a number of my favorites that I enjoyed over the years. I think it was like 2008 or so, and Gurren Lagann happened, and that is hands down my favorite anime. It's just, I feel like that thing was made for me. So Gurren Lagann was my favorite. Didn't watch much else. I did watch and enjoy Macross Frontier, and then it would be years and years later, I would discover One Punch Man. Just like most people on the planet that are into anime, I watched One Punch Man. I watched Attack on Titan. And then, I've just kind of dabbled in anime since then. There hasn't been anything that's really set me on fire. But I did end up with this overnight job, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I kind of started poking around at manga. That's when I discovered The Promised Neverland. I discovered My Hero Academia. And I discovered Dr. Stone. And this video is about Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is my favorite manga, and I'll do my best to explain it. So what is Dr. Stone about? Well, in the year 2022, everyone on the planet is turned to stone. That's it. That is the whole premise. But basically, a boy wakes up from his stone cocoon about 4,000 years later, a little less than 4,000 years later. That boy's name is Taiju. He was about to confess his love to this girl. That's when the stone event happened. He's busted out of his stone cocoon. It's thousands of years later. And the thought of his girl basically sustained him the whole time. So his first thought is to get back to her. Well, along the way up the river, he's been washed away from the school. He finds these little notes on trees, and he follows the notes, and he finds his best friend. His best friend's name is Sinkyu. Sinkyu is like a science prodigy. So with Taiju's muscles and Sinkyu's brains, they decide to rebuild civilization. So, where's the conflict? As they develop a depetrification formula that they intend to use on people to sort of start rebuilding humanity, they're attacked by lions. So, instead of reviving Taiju's girl, they end up reviving a guy named Tsukasa. And Tsukasa is like the end-all, be-all superhuman badass. He's hated and feared, but they have no choice. They can't fight. They're not fighters. I mean, as strong as Taiju is, he doesn't know how to fight. As smart as Sinkyu is, you can't really outsmart a lion's jaws. So they use the depetrification formula on Tsukasa, bringing him back to life. And in this totally epic scene, Tsukasa kills the lions with his bare hands and saves the day. They eventually get enough depetrification formula to restore Taiju's girl. I think her name is Uzuhara. So the four of them set about starting to like build shelters and things like that while slowly accumulating the depetrification formula. But Taiju and Sinkyu are a little wary of Tsukasa, so they kind of keep the secrets of the formula to themselves. And they were right in doing that, because they slowly discover that when Tsukasa goes out to hunt for food, he's actually smashing the statues of adults. See, as a child, Tsukasa was abused by adults. So he's grown up his whole life with this bad attitude. He hates adults. He hates people in power. He hates society and the world the way it is. And he sees this as a gift. He sees the petrification event as a way to remake society for the youth, and re-envision it in a better way, in his own idea of what the world would be better. So Taiju and Sinkyu are just horrified to find out he's basically been committing like mass murder. And Tsukasa is no dummy. I mean, he's pretty much like the ultimate human being. He may not be as sciencey as Sinkyu, but he has the brains and the brawn. Certainly enough to like start a new civilization and lead it. But his ideology is just so messed up. He's so misguided. They decide that, they have to get away from him. They have to kill him, but there's no way they can do that. He's just this insurmountable, like, they can't fight him. All they can do is outsmart him. That's the only advantage they have, is just Sinkyu is just smarter. So they set about a plan. The plan goes south. There's somebody has to fake their death. We're introduced to the native peoples of the stone world after like almost 4,000 years. Some small tribes have risen up, and basically Sinkyu ends up going to one of these tribes, having an unexpected connection with the peoples there, teaching them about science. There's a little bit of a tournament arc, all the things you would expect in a shonen manga, just a lot more science, a lot more feels, a lot of heart, some great artwork. Again, Dr. Stone, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain this manga, but it is tricky. I mean, at the beginning of it, you're led to believe that Taiju is our main character, and that's just not the case. He's more of the sidekick, where it was, sort of flipped on its head after that initial story arc. And that's a good thing, because Sinkyu is a great character, and he's, they provide him with some great supporting characters. And I mean, this manga has got a lot of feels in it. I mean, Sinkyu is like the best and the worst human being at the same time. He's so selfish and greedy, but it's all like in the name of rebuilding civilization and educating these people and making their lives better, while at the same time they're under the constant threat of Tsukasa building up an army of young people, just sort of hand-picked by him to begin a new, stronger world under his rule. There's just so much to like here, and I don't want to give away all the secrets, but it's well worth your time. If you're reading Dr. Stone, let me know in the comments below. If you're reading something else and you think it's great, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested to check out new series. Subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Thanks for riding with me on the Stellar Highway, and I will see you next time.